The Discovery. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the exploration vessel Aurora, watching the massive shape slowly rotate against the star field. 3 months into their deep space survey mission, they had stumbled upon something that defied every piece of technology humanity had ever encountered. The derelict ship stretched nearly 5 kilometers from bow to stern, its dark hull gleaming with an almost organic smoothness that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Status report. Dr. Webb. Sarah called to her chief science officer, a man whose enthusiasm for xenorchaeology had earned him a reputation throughout the exploration fleet. Dr. Marcus Webb looked up from his scanner array, his weathered face creased with excitement and confusion. "Captain, I've never seen anything like this. The hull material isn't showing up on any of our databases. It's not metal, not ceramic, not any composite we know. The energy readings are completely passive, but there's something about the quantum signature that suggests this thing isn't entirely dead." Commander Alex Rivera, the ship's tactical officer, shifted uncomfortably at his station. His military background made him naturally suspicious of unknown technologies, especially ones this large. "Captain, recommend we maintain safe distance. Whatever built this thing had technology far beyond anything the Galactic Council species possess. Could be automated defenses still active." Sarah nodded thoughtfully. The Galactic Council represented 12 different species, each with thousands of years of technological development. Humanity had only recently been granted observer status, still considered newcomers to the galactic community. Finding technology that surpassed even the eldest council members was both thrilling and terrifying. "Dr. Webb, any idea how old this thing is?" Sarah asked, moving closer to examine the detailed scans appearing on the main display. Webb adjusted his scanner settings, trying to penetrate deeper into the alien vessel's structure. Preliminary carbon dating on the space dust accumulated on the hull suggests it's been drifting here for at least 50,000 years, possibly longer. But Captain, here's the strange part. The internal structure isn't showing signs of decay consistent with that age. It's almost like time moves differently inside that hull. The bridge fell quiet as everyone absorbed this information. 50,000 years ago, most of the current galactic civilizations were still primitive. Even the ancient Saphirians, considered the eldest spacefaring race, had only achieved interstellar flight 30,000 years ago. "Captain," came the voice of Lieutenant Torres from the communications station. "We're receiving some kind of transmission from the derelict. It's not directed at us specifically, more like a general broadcast on multiple frequencies." Sarah straightened. "Put it through speakers, all frequencies." The bridge filled with a sound unlike anything they had ever heard. It wasn't quite music, but it wasn't random noise either. Complex harmonics weaved together in patterns that seemed almost mathematical, rising and falling in waves that somehow felt familiar yet completely alien. "It's beautiful," whispered Rivera, surprising everyone including himself. "Sounds almost like it's calling to something." Webb was frantically working at his station, running the signal through every analysis program they had. "Captain, this is incredible. The signal contains embedded mathematical sequences, star charts, even what appears to be basic physics equations. It's like a universal greeting card, designed to be understood by any intelligent species that develops spaceflight." Sarah made her decision with the quick certainty that had made her one of humanity's youngest deep space captains. "Prepare an away team. Dr. Webb, you're with me. Rivera, you too. We're going to take a closer look at our mysterious neighbor." 2 hours later, their shuttle approached the derelict's hull. Up close, the alien ship was even more impressive. Smooth surfaces curved in ways that suggested both advanced engineering and artistic sensibility. There were no visible weapon ports, no obvious engine exhausts, nothing that matched conventional starship design from any known species. There, Webb pointed to what appeared to be a seamless section of hull. "Scans show that area has a different density. Might be some kind of docking port or airlock." As their shuttle drew near, the hull section suddenly iris opened like a mechanical flower, revealing a docking bay perfectly sized for their small craft. Emergency lights flickered to life along the bay walls, illuminating symbols and markings in a script none of them recognized. "That's not ominous at all," Rivera muttered, but he was already checking his sidearm and environmental suit seals. They docked smoothly, the alien bay providing a perfect atmospheric seal. Sensors confirmed the air inside was breathable, though they kept their suits sealed as a precaution. The interior of the ship was as remarkable as its exterior. Corridors curved in gentle arcs, lit by panels that seemed to respond to their presence. The walls were covered in intricate patterns that shifted and flowed like living artwork. "The ship knows we're here," Webb observed, running his scanner over the responsive wall panels. "These lights are following our movement, and the patterns seem to be reacting to our biosignatures." They made their way deeper into the vessel, following corridors that seemed to guide them toward the ship's center. The architecture was clearly designed for humanoid beings, though perhaps slightly taller than average humans. Everything felt purposeful, elegant, and completely beyond human understanding. Finally, they reached what could only be the ship's central command center. The chamber was vast, with a domed ceiling that displayed swirling patterns of light reminiscent of nebulae and star formations. In the center stood a crystalline structure that pulsed with soft blue energy. "Captain," Webb breathed, his voice full of wonder, "I think we've found the ship's brain." As they approached the crystal structure, it began to brighten, and the patterns on the walls shifted to display what appeared to be star charts and technical diagrams. Then, without warning, a voice filled the chamber. "Welcome, children of Earth," the voice said in perfect, unaccented English. "I have been waiting for you." Rivera's hand moved instinctively to his weapon, but Sarah raised her hand to stop him. "You speak our language," she said calmly. "How is that possible?" "I speak all languages," the voice replied. "I am ARIA, the final repository of the predecessor civilization. For 53,412 standard years, I have waited for a species worthy of receiving our legacy." The crystal pulsed brighter, and holographic displays filled the air around them. Images of vast cities, incredible technologies, and star-spanning civilizations flashed before their eyes. Then, darker images, wars, destruction, worlds consumed by their own creations. "My creators were not unlike your species," ARIA continued. "Curious, innovative, determined to push beyond every boundary. They explored the galaxy, built wonders, achieved what they believed was perfection. But perfection, they learned, is a trap. They became stagnant, content with their achievements, and in their contentment, they began to fade." Webb was recording everything, his scientific mind racing to process the implications. What happened to them? "They chose transcendence," Arai had explained. "They departed this plane of existence, leaving behind only their knowledge and myself to guard it. They instructed me to wait for a species that showed the proper balance of wisdom and ambition, creativity and restraint." Sarah stepped closer to the crystal. "And you believe humans possess this balance?" "Your species shows promise," Araya replied. "You explore not for conquest, but for understanding. You create not to dominate, but to improve. Your curiosity drives you forward, but your compassion keeps you grounded. Most importantly, you have not yet achieved what you consider perfection." The displays around them shifted to show human achievements: space stations, terraforming projects, peaceful first contacts with alien species, but also mistakes, conflicts, and the gradual learning process that had brought humanity to the stars. "I offer you a choice," Araya said. "Accept my knowledge, and your species will leap forward by millennia. Your ships will cross galaxies in days. Your medicine will conquer death itself. Your understanding of the universe will unlock secrets that the current galactic powers cannot even imagine." Rivera frowned. "What's the catch?" "There's always a catch with power like this. Wisdom, Araya replied approvingly. Yes, there is a price. Other species will fear you. They will see you as the predecessor's successors and remember the mistakes of the past. Some will try to stop you before you can reach your full potential. The knowledge I offer will make you powerful, but it will also make you alone. Sarah considered this carefully. Humanity had always been the newcomers to galactic society, struggling to prove themselves worthy of respect among civilizations thousands of years older. This opportunity could change everything, but it would also make them targets. If we accept, she said slowly, what assurance do we have that we won't repeat your creator's mistakes? None, Araya replied honestly. But that uncertainty is precisely why I believe you are ready. My creator's greatest error was believing they had found all the answers. You still ask questions. Webb looked at his captain with barely contained excitement. Sarah, this could solve every problem humanity faces. Energy, propulsion, even the theoretical frameworks we've been struggling with for decades. It could also start a war, Rivera pointed out grimly. The council species won't stand by and watch humans suddenly become the dominant power in the galaxy. Sarah closed her eyes for a moment, feeling the weight of the decision. When she opened them again, her resolve was clear. Araya, we accept your offer, but we want to earn this knowledge, not just receive it. Teach us gradually, let us understand each step, each principle. Help us grow into this power rather than simply handing it to us. The crystal pulsed with what seemed like approval. A wise approach. Very well, children of Earth, your education begins now. Over the following weeks, the Aurora remained docked with the predecessor vessel, while ARIA began the slow process of expanding human understanding. The AI shared principles of advanced physics, showed them elegant solutions to engineering problems humanity had considered impossible, and revealed the true nature of the universe's underlying structure. Dr. Webb worked tirelessly, absorbing information and running calculations that pushed the boundaries of human mathematics. Rivera found himself learning tactical applications that could revolutionize space combat, while Sarah discovered leadership principles that had guided a galactic civilization for millennia. But their activities had not gone unnoticed. The massive energy signatures emanating from the predecessor vessel had been detected by monitoring stations throughout the sector. Within days, ships began arriving to investigate. First came the scientific vessels, drawn by curiosity. Then the military ships, drawn by suspicion. Captain, Rivera reported from the Aurora's bridge. We have multiple contacts approaching. Zephyrian, Corlin, even some Vrex battle cruisers. Whatever we're doing here has gotten their attention. Sarah looked at the tactical display showing dozens of alien ships converging on their position. She had expected this moment would come, but not quite so soon. Araya, are you detecting these vessels? Yes, Captain Chen. The AI replied through the ship's communication system. The galactic powers are concerned. They recognize the energy patterns my systems generate, and they remember stories of my creators. Some species view the predecessors as gods. Others see them as cautionary tales. All fear their return. What do you recommend? Sarah asked. Prepare yourselves, Araya replied. The Galactic Council will demand explanations. They will want to know what humanity has discovered, what knowledge you have gained, and whether you represent a threat to the existing order. Your answer will determine not only your species' future, but the future of the galaxy itself. As alien ships took up positions around them, Sarah felt the weight of history pressing down upon her shoulders. Humanity had sought the stars seeking knowledge and adventure. Now they had found both, along with responsibilities they had never imagined. The real test was about to begin. The judgment. The Galactic Council chamber on Nexus Prime had never held such a tense gathering. Representatives from all 12 founding species sat in their designated sections, while observers from dozens of minor civilizations filled the outer galleries. The humans had been given 3 days to travel from the predecessor vessel to the Council's homeworld, 3 days for the galaxy to work itself into a state of barely controlled panic. Captain Sarah Chen stood in the center of the vast chamber, flanked by Dr. Webb and Commander Rivera. Above them, holographic displays showed detailed scans of the predecessor vessel, energy readings that defied conventional understanding, and most concerning of all, footage of human personnel working alongside technology that hadn't been seen for 50,000 years. High Counselor Zethkar, a towering reptilian being with silver scales and eyes like burning coals, activated his speaking platform. His species, the Corlin, had been among the first to achieve interstellar flight and considered themselves the galaxy's natural leaders. Humans of Earth, his voice boomed through the chamber's translation system. You stand accused of violating the predecessor accords, established 3,000 years ago to prevent any species from accessing the forbidden technologies that once nearly destroyed our galaxy. Sarah had studied the accords during their journey to Nexus Prime. The agreement had been signed after several species discovered predecessor ruins and attempted to reverse engineer the advanced technologies within. The results had been catastrophic. Entire star systems had been consumed by weapons tests gone wrong. Civilizations had collapsed under the weight of technologies they couldn't truly understand. With respect, High Counselor, Sarah replied, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber's acoustics. Humanity never signed the predecessor accords. We cannot be bound by agreements we had no part in creating. A ripple of shocked conversation ran through the assembled delegates. Several species began speaking rapidly in their native languages, their translators working overtime to keep up with the sudden chaos. Ambassador Gulnera of the crystal-based luminary rose from her platform, her faceted body refracting the chamber's light into rainbow patterns. Her species had always advocated for peaceful solutions to galactic disputes. Captain Chen speaks the truth regarding the legal aspects, she said in her musical voice. However, the spirit of the accords was to protect all intelligent life from technologies beyond our comprehension. Surely humanity recognizes the wisdom in such caution. Dr. Webb stepped forward, unable to contain his scientific excitement despite the gravity of the situation. Honored delegates, what we've discovered isn't just advanced technology. It's a teacher. The predecessor eye doesn't simply hand over dangerous weapons or uncontrolled power. It educates, guides, ensures understanding before granting capability. Pretty words, growled General Crix, the Council's military champion. The scared Vrex warrior had fought in more conflicts than most species had recorded in their histories. But we've seen this pattern before. First contact with predecessor technology always begins with promises of wisdom and restraint. It always ends with civilizations consuming themselves from within. High Counselor Zethkar activated a new holographic display, showing the current human fleet disposition around the predecessor vessel. Intelligence reports indicate that your species has already begun implementing predecessor technologies. Your ship's energy signatures have changed dramatically. Your communication systems now use quantum entanglement protocols that our most advanced scientists consider theoretical impossibilities. Sarah nodded calmly. We have indeed learned much from Araya, the predecessor eye, but we implemented safeguards, limitations, ethical constraints on every system. We're not the same species that first discovered fire or split the atom. We've learned from our mistakes. As did the Corlin, Zethkar replied coldly. 5,000 years ago, my people discovered a predecessor outpost. We too believed we could control their legacy. The resulting war nearly destroyed our homeworld and reduced our population by 80%. Only by abandoning all predecessor technology did we survive. The chamber fell silent as the weight of that history settled over the assembly. The Corlin were one of the galaxy's most powerful species, and learning they had once nearly destroyed themselves with predecessor technology sent chills through every delegate present. Commander Rivera had remained quiet until now, but the military implications demanded his attention. General Crix, with respect, humanity's approach has been fundamentally different from past attempts. We haven't tried to reverse engineer abandoned technology. We're working with the original creator's intelligence, learning principles rather than copying devices. Show us, demanded Counselor Thexnar of the Insectoid Hive Collective, her compound eyes glittering in the chamber's light. If your methods are truly different, demonstrate them. Prove that humanity can wield predecessor knowledge without falling to predecessor madness. The challenge hung in the air like a physical presence. Sarah felt the eyes of the entire galaxy upon her, knowing that the next few moments would determine humanity's future among the stars. What do you propose? High Counselor Zethkar exchanged glances with his fellow council members before speaking. The ancient protocols provide for trial by demonstration. You will face our champion fleet in simulated combat. If your predecessor-enhanced vessels can defeat our combined forces without resorting to planet-destroying weapons or reality-warping technologies, we will accept that humanity has indeed found a different path. Sarah felt her heart racing. The Council's champion fleet represented the pinnacle of conventional galactic military technology. Ships from dozens of species, each contributing their finest designs and most experienced crews. It would be an incredible test of the Aurora and the small fleet of human vessels that had joined them. We accept, she said without hesitation, but we propose additional terms. This won't be a simple military exercise. We'll demonstrate not just our enhanced capabilities, but our restraint and creativity. We'll achieve victory through tactics and innovation, not overwhelming firepower. Admiral Thane, who had arrived with the human reinforcement fleet, stepped forward from the observer section. The veteran officer had commanded human fleets in 3 major conflicts and earned respect even among alien military commanders. Captain Chen, with your permission, I'll coordinate our fleet response. Over the next 24 hours, both sides prepared for the demonstration. The Council assembled a fleet of 30 vessels representing the finest military technology from 12 different civilizations. The humans fielded only 7 ships, but each had been enhanced with carefully selected predecessor technologies under Araya's guidance. The testing ground was established in an empty star system, with sensor platforms and recording devices positioned to capture every detail of the engagement. Representatives from across the galaxy watched as the 2 fleets took their positions. All vessels report ready, Admiral Thane announced from the flagship's bridge. The enhanced human ships didn't look dramatically different from standard designs, but their sensor signatures told a different story. Energy patterns flowed through their hulls in ways that seemed almost organic, and their movement through space had a fluid grace that conventional ships couldn't match. The Council fleet opened the engagement with a coordinated assault that would have overwhelmed any conventional force. Plasma cannons, particle beams, and kinetic weapons converged on the human formation with devastating precision. But the human ships seemed to dance between the attacks, their enhanced engines allowing impossible maneuvers that turned deadly crossfires into harmless light shows. Phase 1 complete, Admiral Thane reported calmly. No damage sustained. Beginning response pattern. The human counterattack was unlike anything the galactic observers had ever seen. Instead of returning fire with conventional weapons, the human ships began generating localized distortion fields that disabled enemy weapons without destroying the ships themselves. Council vessels found their targeting systems confused by sensor ghosts, their engines affected by harmonic resonances that forced them to reduce power. Within 30 minutes, the entire Council fleet had been effectively neutralized without a single shot being fired in return. Every ship remained intact, every crew safe, but none retained the ability to continue fighting. Impressive, admitted General Crix grudgingly. Your tactics show remarkable restraint, but can you also demonstrate the power to defend against truly overwhelming odds? Admiral Thane smiled grimly. Araya. Activate Defensive Demonstration Protocol. The space around the human fleet suddenly filled with holographic projections that simulated a massive invasion force. Thousands of enemy ships appeared to converge on the human position, representing a threat that would challenge even the combined might of all Council species. What followed was a masterpiece of tactical innovation. The human ships used their enhanced capabilities not to destroy the simulated enemy, but to turn their own forces against each other. Carefully placed gravity distortions caused enemy formations to collide. Precision electromagnetic pulses disabled command ships, leaving fleets leaderless and confused. In less than an hour, the overwhelming enemy force had been completely neutralized through creative applications of physics rather than brute firepower. The watching delegates sat in stunned silence as the implications sank in. Humanity had demonstrated the ability to defeat any conceivable threat without resorting to the civilization-ending weapons that had destroyed previous attempts to harness predecessor technology. Ambassador Velnera was the first to speak. "This changes everything," she said softly. "They found a way to use ultimate power with ultimate responsibility." High Counselor Zethkar slowly rose from his seat, his ancient eyes reflecting a mixture of respect and lingering caution. "Humans of Earth, you have demonstrated capabilities that exceed our greatest fears and wisdom that surpasses our highest hopes. The Council recognizes your right to possess and develop predecessor technologies, but we also offer you something perhaps more valuable." Sarah waited, sensing that the next words would reshape galactic civilization. "We offer you full membership in the Galactic Council," Zethkar continued. "Not as observers or junior partners, but as equals among the founding species. Your unique relationship with predecessor knowledge, combined with your species' innovative thinking, makes you invaluable to the galaxy's future." The chamber erupted in discussion as delegates processed this unprecedented offer. No species had been granted founding membership in the Council for over 2,000 years. The political implications would ripple across known space for generations. Dr. Webb leaned close to Sarah. "Captain, this is incredible. Full Council membership means access to technologies and knowledge bases we never dreamed of. We could advance human civilization by centuries. It also means responsibilities," Rivera added quietly. "As Council members, we'd be expected to help maintain galactic stability, mediate disputes, even police species that threaten the common good." Sarah looked up at the assembled delegates, representing civilizations that spanned millions of years of history and countless different approaches to life and technology. Humanity had sought the stars as explorers and had found their destiny as guardians. "On behalf of humanity," she said clearly, "we accept membership in the Galactic Council. We pledge to use our enhanced capabilities not for dominance, but for protection. Not for conquest, but for exploration. The universe is vast enough for all of us to grow and learn together." As the chamber filled with the sounds of approval from dozens of different species, Sarah felt Arai's presence in her mind one last time. "You have chosen well, child of Earth," the ancient eye whispered. "My creators would be proud. The galaxy is in capable hands." The era of human isolation was over. The age of human leadership had begun. And somewhere in the vast darkness between stars, other ancient AIs stirred in their long slumber, sensing that the time of waiting might finally be coming to an end. The real adventure was just beginning.